If you're stuck between the Moto G77 and the Redmi Note 15 Pro Plus, stop scrolling. In the next few minutes, I'm gonna break down the real-world differences between the Moto G77 and the Redmi Note 15 Pro Plus. Not just specs, but how they actually feel, perform, and hold up over time, so you can confidently pick the one that fits your daily life and avoid buyer's regret later. Alright, let's start with what you'll notice first the second you pick these up: the way they actually feel in your hand. The Moto G77 immediately feels lighter and slimmer. It's the kind of phone that doesn't strain your wrist during long scrolling sessions. And if you use your phone one-handed a lot, you'll appreciate that slimmer body. Sliding it into your pocket feels easy, and it doesn't feel bulky when you're sitting down or moving around. The Eco leather back adds grip too, so it feels secure without being slippery, even without a case. Now, the Redmi Note 15 Pro Plus gives you a very different first impression. It's heavier and thicker, and you feel that right away. But that weight isn't random. It comes from a larger battery and a more rugged build. The materials feel tougher, and the water and drop protection are on another level. If you're someone who travels a lot, drops their phone occasionally, or just wants something that feels extremely solid, that extra weight can actually feel reassuring instead of annoying. So the real question here isn't just which one is lighter, it's what kind of daily experience you prefer. If comfort, slimness, and ease of use matter most to you, the Moto feels easier to live with. But if durability and long-term toughness give you peace of mind, the Redmi's heavier, more solid build starts making a lot of sense. When it comes to the display, this is something you're going to look at for hours every single day, so it matters more than most people think. The Moto G77 gives you a big 6.78-inch AMOLED panel with a smooth 120Hz refresh rate, and it gets extremely bright on paper, up to 5,000 nits at peak. Indoors, it looks vibrant, sharp, and very comfortable for long scrolling or watching YouTube at night. Colors pop nicely, blacks are deep, and for daily use, it honestly feels premium. The Redmi Note 15 Pro Plus goes slightly bigger at 6.83 inches, also 120Hz AMOLED, but what stands out is how consistent the brightness feels outdoors. Even under strong sunlight, the screen stays clear and easier to read. Plus, it supports Dolby Vision and HDR10+, so Netflix and HDR content look more dynamic and cinematic. Now, here's the small but important difference. If you mostly use your phone indoors, both feel great, but if you're outside often, traveling or consuming a lot of media, that extra outdoor visibility on the Redmi becomes noticeable over time. Now, let's talk about performance, because this is where long-term smoothness stays consistent or slowly starts to frustrate you. The Moto G77 runs on the Dimensity 6400 with 8GB of RAM, and for everyday use, it honestly feels smooth. Social media, multitasking between apps, YouTube, messaging, no problem. Even games like PUBG or Call of Duty run comfortably on medium settings without constant stutter. It doesn't overheat quickly, and for a normal user, it feels reliable and stable. If you're not pushing your phone aggressively, you're not gonna feel lag day to day. The Redmi Note 15 Pro Plus, though, steps into a stronger category with the Snapdragon 7S Gen 4 and up to 12GB of RAM. Apps open faster, heavy games hold frame rates better, and multitasking feels more effortless when you're jumping between multiple apps. And here's the key part: stronger processors usually age better. 2 or 3 years down the line, that extra headroom can make a real difference. But more power also brings slightly more heat under stress, and of course contributes to the heavier body. So the real question isn't which one is faster today, it's how hard you plan to push your phone over time. Now let's get into the cameras, because this is where numbers can easily confuse you if you don't understand what they actually mean in real life. The Moto G77 comes with a 108-megapixel main camera with optical image stabilization, along with an 8-megapixel ultrawide. In good daylight, it performs exactly how most people expect: sharp photos, balanced colors, and solid dynamic range. Skin tones look natural, and it doesn't oversaturate everything. The optical stabilization helps when your hands aren't perfectly steady, especially in slightly dim conditions. At night, it's decent. You'll get usable shots for social media, and street lights or indoor lighting don't completely destroy the image, but you will notice some softness and noise if the light drops too much. The Redmi Note 15 Pro Plus pushes things
things further with a 200 megapixel main sensor, also with optical stabilization, plus an 8 megapixel ultrawide. In bright conditions, detail levels are impressive. You can crop into photos without losing much clarity. But the bigger difference shows up in low light. Indoor dinners, late night drives, dim cafes, the Redmi captures cleaner images with better highlight control and less grain. It just feels more confident when the lighting isn't perfect. For video, the Redmi records up to 4K at 30 FPS, while the Moto goes up to 1440p. If you plan to keep videos long-term or do light editing, that extra resolution gives flexibility. Both have 32 megapixel selfie cameras, and for calls or social posts, they're more than good enough. Now let's talk about battery life, because this is the part you'll feel every single day without even thinking about it. The Moto G77 packs a 5200 mAh battery, and in real-world use, that comfortably gets most people through a full day. Social media, calls, streaming, some gaming, you'll end the night with charge left if you're a moderate user. It's reliable. You won't constantly panic about finding a charger by evening, and with 30-watt charging, it refills at a reasonable speed. Not crazy fast, but quick enough to top up before heading out. The Redmi Note 15 Pro Plus takes this to another level with a massive 6500 mAh battery. This is the kind of capacity that changes how you use your phone. Heavy gaming, long Google Maps navigation, hours of video streaming, it just keeps going. Battery anxiety almost disappears, and when it's finally time to charge, the 100-watt fast charging is seriously quick. You can go from low battery to nearly full in under an hour, which makes a huge difference on busy days. But here's the important trade-off. That bigger battery is part of why the Redmi feels heavier. So it's not just about which one lasts longer, it's about whether you need that extra endurance in your daily routine. Now let's quickly go over the smaller features, because sometimes these are the things that quietly affect your experience over months of use. Both phones give you stereo speakers with Dolby Atmos support, so watching videos or playing games without headphones sounds full and immersive on both. The Redmi does get slightly louder and feels a bit richer at higher volumes, but the Moto still sounds clean and balanced for daily use. Fingerprint placement is different, and this actually changes how the phone feels to unlock every day. The Moto uses a side-mounted fingerprint sensor, which is fast and very reliable. Your thumb naturally rests there, especially if you unlock your phone often throughout the day. The Redmi uses an under-display fingerprint sensor. It looks more modern and cleaner, but it can be just a fraction slower compared to a physical button. The Redmi also includes an infrared port, which lets you control TVs or appliances. Not essential, but surprisingly useful once you start using it. On the other hand, the Moto offers micro SD card support, which gives you expandable storage, something that's becoming rare now.
Now let's talk about software and storage together, because this is where long-term comfort really starts to matter. The Moto G77 runs a very clean version of Android 16. It feels simple, smooth, and close to stock Android, which means less bloat, fewer unnecessary apps, and a more straightforward experience. If you like a phone that just works without too many pop-ups, themes, or extra features getting in your way, this feels calm and easy to live with. It comes with 8 GB of RAM and either 128 GB or 256 GB of storage. And importantly, it supports micro SD expansion. So if you store a lot of photos, offline videos, or travel footage, you can expand later instead of worrying about space from day one. The Redmi Note 15 Pro Plus runs HyperOS based on Android 15, with promised major updates over the next few years. That's strong for future-proofing. It also offers larger built-in storage options, going up to 512 GB, and uses faster internal storage, so apps and games open slightly quicker. But there's no micro SD slot, so what you buy is what you live with. The bigger difference is feel. HyperOS is more customizable and feature-packed, but also slightly busier. Some people love that flexibility. Others prefer the simplicity of Moto's cleaner approach. Over time, that difference can either feel exciting or quietly annoying. Now let's bring everything together and make the decision clear. Alright, let's bring this all together in a way that actually makes the decision simple. If you want something lighter, cleaner, and easier to live with every single day, a phone that feels comfortable in your hand, runs smooth without extra complexity, and still handles everything most people do, the Moto G77 makes a lot of sense. It's balanced, practical, and stress-free. But if you care about stronger long-term performance, brighter outdoor visibility, better low-light photography, massive battery life, and ultra-fast charging, and you don't mind the extra weight, the Redmi Note 15 Pro Plus clearly gives you more power and more future security. At this point, it really comes down to who you are as a user: comfort and simplicity, or power and endurance. Now I want to hear from you. Which one are you choosing and why? Drop your decision in the comments so we can see where most people are leaning. And if this video helped you think clearly instead of just throwing specs at you, hit that like button and hype this video up so it reaches more people who are stuck making the same choice.